Hi, everyone. One more time. As I promised, I'm recording the last lesson of the program. So I'm happy to announce that this is the material that we were talking about today and last Monday. So after this one, after this class, what we have next week is just the exam, the Scrum exams. So please, please, please take your time to go to the virtual classroom and go to week number 6, individual assignment, and practice as much as you can. Practice exam 06, 07, 08, and there's another one which is very large with about 40 questions. That will be part of the bank of questions that I will be using to create the exam for the next week. So why I am recording this class is because some of you guys were not able to attend to this class. So if you see the Google Classroom, the virtual classroom, please check every single week, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and week 6, and look at the videos. So there's no excuses for you to miss the program. So you can complete the class just watching the videos, and then my instructions is go directly to the practice exams. That'll be the homework for every single class that you are missing. If you miss some class, is that okay? The only thing you need to do is, number 1, watch the video for that week. And you don't need to do exactly the homework for that week. No. Just pay attention. Just refresh your mind, relax, and go directly to the week number 6, individual assignment. Okay? So that's my instruction for you to pass the exam next week. If you are not able to take the exam, please let me know because I can reschedule the exam for you guys. But I hope we can do it next week. That is the objective. So having said that, let me just make sure. Let me go directly to this class. This agenda. And this is what I'm talking about. The week 7, it's next week, March 11 and March 13. On March 11, which is Monday, we will be just 100%, like I'll say 90% of the time, practicing the exams. So getting ready for the final, the real exam, which is 13. So I will be talking about Anata or Anara case study, just Anara. For some of you guys that were not able to attend the class today, Anata case study. And then that will be maybe 10% of the time of our class this Monday. And then 90% of the time doing just practice exams, okay? All right, so let me explain one more time. What is the reason why we are teaching you Scrum? One more time. We are teaching this class because we want to elevate our lives based on what or through what? Through digital transformation and agile mindset. Why? Because there's no business today and in the next years, there's no way for any business to survive at any industry without implementing an agile mindset. So agile is a philosophy. Agile. It's a mindset, right? Based on values, for values, and guided by principles, 12 principles. the beauty of Agile is that it's not only values and principles, right? It's also that I can apply those values and principles, which is the mindset or philosophy, mindset, through practices, right? Manifested by practices. So in order for me to apply this mindset, I need to use some of the Agile frameworks. I'm putting this list of rectangles under the umbrella because one of these is Scrum, right? Another one is Kanban. As you can see, we are talking about a lot about Kanban also. Here it's safe, Scale Agile Framework. Here could be XP, Extreme Programming. Here it could be DevOps, Development and Operations. Here it could be Crystal. Let's say, what is that? Don't ask me, that is not part of the class. Crystal, DevOps, Safe, XP. I don't care about that. I want you to pay attention to Scrum and a little bit of Kanban. So if you click on those links, you will see the Scrum video. And I posted on Google Virtual Classroom for you to watch those videos when you have a chance. This is not mandatory, but it's good to know. It's a nice to do it. And this one, it's Spotify video on how Spotify implemented Scrum. Okay. So now that I know that Scrum, it's part of Agile mindset, I can establish that Scrum, the prescription of a Scrum prescribes 3 roles, the 3-5-3. 3 roles, right? 5 ceremonies, 3 roles, which are product owner, the team, and a Scrum Master. 5 ceremonies or events. Number 1, it's the sprint. It's a container for the other activities of Scrum. We have the sprint planning. We have the daily Scrum, which is this one, daily Scrum. We have the sprint review, and also we have the retrospective. So in the sprint planning, we are defining what work, what job we will be developing during the sprint. We are defining here the sprint backlog and and also the sprint goal, the goal of the sprint. In this meeting, which is every day 15 minutes duration here, every 24 hours, 15 minutes. The daily Scrum, 15 minutes. It's just to understand what did you do yesterday, what are you doing today to achieve the goal of the sprint, and also if you have any blockers or impediments. So 3 things in 15 minutes. 1, 2, and 3, right? The sprint review, which is also called the sprint demo, is where you present the increment to the stakeholders. And you need the feedback from them, so you can improve. You can move forward. So the most important point here is the feedback. The sprint retrospective, it's when you ask what went well, what went not so well, and how we can improve. Today, I told you that the name Kaizen, it's a Japanese terminology, Kaizen, meaning changing for better, change for better, Kaizen. So the expectations of the sprint retrospective, it's identify anything that we need to improve. It could be people, process, or product improvement, continuous improvement. So now that we know that we have 3 roles, 5 events or ceremonies, also the Scrum is about the 3 artifacts. Number 1, it's a product backlog. Number 2 is the sprint backlog. And number 3 is the finished work, which is the increment. Okay. So now, today, I'm happy to announce that we will be talking about of the Scrum Artifacts. These 2 sessions consolidated in one. What is the objective? That we can do this recording in less than 1 hour. That's the objective. So let's get started. Product backlog. Product backlog, it's a list of everything to be done so we can build the final product. It's the list of prioritized items of the product backlog. So why the product backlog is so important? It's because this is the plan, what to do to create the final product. If we think about it, everything is about delivering value. But I cannot deliver value in any organization if I don't have a plan. To me, the product backlog, it's a list. It's a plan. To me, it's like a plan. It's the to-do list. We can have user stories, bugs, defects, mistakes, something to improve. Here it's a terminology, bugs. Refactoring is about refining the code, and knowledge acquisition, it's about if you need to learn something new, you're supposed to put everything in here as part of this list. So all items are described in a simple business language. So traditionally, I remember I've been there, all the technical software development projects, the list of requirements were created in a technical language. Now that is not good anymore. Why? Because believe it or not, this type of projects today, we need people from legal, people from marketing, people from administration, people from human resources. So the 90% of the team members sometimes is cross-functional. So they have no idea about technical language, like me. So all the time, all my experience has been working with the business, the sales team, the partners at Cisco, the client, the customers, the distribution team, the supporting sales, marketing team. So I have no idea about technical language. So that's why all items must be described in a business language, right? So there is a measurement for the size of each item. So all items are estimated in study points. What is that? Let's say study points is that for every single user story here, we need to assign, the team, when we are grooming the backlog, every single item will have here its size in the study points. For example, this item number 1, maybe the estimated size is 2 points. This is not the value, this is the size. This one can be 5 points, study points, and so on. So each item needs to be estimated in terms of how long it's going to take. So we can estimate the duration of the project at the end of the day. So every requirement and every change in the project will be reflected in the product backlog. So this document, it's alive, it's dynamic, it's flexible. Never stays the same. All the time it's changing. Why? Because business is changing, requirements are changing, customers, they have a new requirements, new business strategies, and so on. So it's very dynamic, you see? We need to set up our mindset that this document will change all the time and will be also improved. So we don't need to wait until this product backlog is perfect, like 100% done. No, because you never stop changing this. So it's an ongoing revision. The name of that process when you review the product backlog is the grooming, backlog grooming, like putting beautiful grooming. So don't be surprised if you see this, oh my gosh, this is another version. Yes, that is normal. So the first sprint can be started as soon as the product backlog has sufficient or enough number of stories. So there's no excuse for you to say, no, we cannot start because the product backlog is not finished yet. Come on, you can start. So this is something that you need to know in order to pass the exam. So the product owner sets a number of factors to determine the value. This is another measurement, which is the value. The value is used to prioritize the list of items. Because here, you see high priority, you need to put it here on the top. Why? Because this is the most important items to be implemented in the sprint. This is the sprint backlog. So you're taking the value. What is that about value? Value could be revenues, sales, money, brand name. It could be quality. It could be something that the business it's trying to achieve. It's trying to adopt something that the customer needs. Well, okay, what do you need first? I have as you said, Neil, today, we have a tablet, we have a laptop, and we have a cell phone, we have this mouse, we have different devices. Which one of those 4 devices it's going to be built first? So we as a team, we need to define with the customer, stakeholders, business, what is the most important item to be delivered. So we put it here in the top. Of course, the return of investment, it's how much money I can get back from the business. Return of investment. Remember, all businesses, they have investments. They are putting money. The funding, the funds, it's just about financial resources. So some of the things that we need to keep in mind is which one of those items are going to produce more money, right? Okay, this application, oh my gosh, that we're talking about today, Anata, we need to launch this feature because this feature is going to generate feature. This is going to generate a lot of money. So let's do that first. It's just to put some examples, some context. So the product backlog, it's ordered based on the value. The higher value items be delivered sooner by the development team. And I want to introduce you what is a user story. Yay! So finally, we get this practical example. A user story, it's, as I mentioned, it's when you describe the requirements in business language or beautiful and easy terminology. So the user stories are the items in the product backlog. Simplified description of a requirement. So I can say that the user story is the same as requirements, right? But the difference is that the requirements are a little bit of technical language, but the user story, it's a business business language. Why? Because in the project of the future, you will be working with a lot of people from different departments, and they have no idea about technical terminologies like me. So what is the example of a user story? Me, Lisette, you see my role as a salesperson. Lisette, as a salesperson, I put my name because I want to put that user stories like it's me. So yo, Lisette, me, I'm Lisette, I'm a salesperson. I want my client information accessible everywhere so I can make more sales. If you see here, this structure of this statement is all about, first of all, is the role. Second, this is the feature or capability. And this is the value. You see the value? Yay. What is the value here? Make more sales. Let me clean up a little bit this so I can use another color. So let me use the purple one. First of all, is the role. Second, the feature that I want. And third is the value. So 3 components. This is the role, salesperson. This is the feature, information accessible everywhere. And number 3, this is the value. You see, role, feature, and value, which is the reason. So this is, one more time, the format here. As a salesperson, I want the info available so that I can sell more. Sell more. You see, it's the same. I'm just rephrasing. All right, this is the user story. Okay, now that we know what is the product backlog, it's time for us to move on to the next artifacts. Remember, this is just about artifacts today. Artifacts here. So the sprint backlog, it's a subset. Thank you, Neil. You helped me to my pronunciation of English. Thank you. So the sprint backlog, it's a subset of the product backlog. So if you see 2 different things here, it's huge, big, and this one is small. Why? Because this is all the requirements for the entire project. However, this one is just a couple of items that we are going to implement in one sprint. This is the entire project. This is for the sprint. So the beautiful part of the sprint backlog is that because you have few items, you are able to break down these items into more detailed tasks. And this is the only way that you can show transparency in Scrum. Why? Because you have a limited amount of items to show in your dashboard, in your Kanban, and your information radiator. Information is the only way you can put this in a very visual place. Information radiator, radiator, information radiator, which is a Kanban. And we're going to share with you today a Kanban example. So that's why we need to select few items from here in order to manage, in order to show progress, in order to reflect and put it in a visual place, the work that we are doing as a team. So the sprint backlog, it's created during the sprint planning, which is the first meeting, sprint planning, which is the first event in a sprint, in any sprint. The sprint backlog, which is this one, includes the number of items selected from the top of the product backlog. You see, this is the product backlog. This is the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is a set of items, including the priorities, because this list, it's ordered, it's organized, it's prioritized. So that's why we need to take the most important items to create the increment. All right, so the sprint backlog includes sprint goal to help describe the real meaning of the items and direct efforts of the development team. So why is the sprint goal so important? It's because the sprint goal is like the vision. It's like the inspirational statement about what we're pursuing in this sprint. So that's why we need to put in black. I remember my mentor, Ernesto, he was very consistent and, oh my gosh, Lisette, you need to articulate the goal of the sprint. I said, oh my gosh, I was new in that position in Anata. But after 2 days, we did it and we included it as part of the dashboard. Okay, so the sprint goal, it describes the real meaning of the items. And it's like a guidance to guide the team to create and to implement specific items. So detailed plan for delivering of the items and realization of the sprint goal. You see? So the sprint backlog contains 2 things. Let me just erase this to try to clean up this part. Number 1, the sprint goal. And the items and realization of the sprint goal. You see, items and a sprint goal. So the sprint backlog is frozen after the sprint planning. Why? Because as soon as you say this is the list of items that we'll be working on, you cannot change it until the next sprint. Okay, it's a cycle here. This is the sprint. Remember, 2 to 4 weeks. And you cannot change the sprint backlog here. So the development team focuses on delivering an increment of done. Stories in the sprint backlog cannot be added or removed. You see, that's why it's frozen. It's frozen. You cannot change. You cannot add or remove anything. That is part of the Scrum rules. Scrum rules. Might be necessary to get more information. That's okay. Justify or clear some of the items. That's perfectly normal. Which should be done in the presence of the product backlog. So all the changes, or not changes, clarifications, not changes, clarifications, and justifications, and understanding and explanations needs to be part of the in presence of the product owner. Why? Because the product owner is the owner of the product backlog. He is the owner of the product backlog. We can have more information, get detailed information will become more complete as the sprint continues. That is absolutely normal as the sprint continues. I'm not going to touch this paragraph because it's too much. I'm going to show the examples in a couple of minutes. Coming up, Kanban board. Yay, this is the Kanban board. So remember that I told you that the sprint backlog, it's very small. So because the size of the sprint backlog, it's small, you are able to visualize or represent the status of this sprint, in a very visual format. The name of this chart, it's Kanban. It could be Kanban board, also task board, task task 4 is the same. So you will see here to do. This is plan, develop, test, deploy, and done. This is just an example. In real life, this is just an example. In real life, you can have different here. It could be to do, doing. It could be 3 columns and done. That's the type of Kanban that I have in my office. To do, doing, and done. So in this case, they are trying to put more details about the different steps that they need to execute in order to create the done increment here. So the beautiful part of this Kanban is that you can see the status of the project. For example, let's put it an example. Let's say that today there's only 1 day left until the sprint ends. And you see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 items in progress. And we have just one day left. Are we doing okay? No, because this is 0. We don't have anything done yet. So we have a lot of stuff in progress. That is not good. And we have only 1 day left. So this is the type of information that you can just see very visually, visual. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to analyze very deep, nothing. It's just to watch your Kanban, to see that we are struggling. We are in trouble with this sprint. So there's nothing finished yet. So the increment, it's the set of the backlog completed items at the end of the sprint. You see, this is the sprint. When we finish the sprint, this is the increment. This is the portion of the product that we will be demonstrating to the stakeholders, this piece of work. This is the outcome of a sprint. The product increment is the outcome of an iteration, which is sprint. It's the same iteration. This is the sprint. This is the iteration. So the product increment is a chunk, it's a portion, it's a part, it's a piece of the project. The development team and the product owner must agree what done means for the increment. This is the definition of done. What is the definition of done? It provides transparency. It's the guidance or the requirements. It's transparency. Those are the specifications of the items being created, the definition of them. Remember the example, my daughter, we have visitors today, please clean your room. And she said, okay, mommy. When I went to the room, I said, hey, let's say, did you clean? Yes, mommy, I did it. Oh my gosh, are you sure? I think this is very disorganized. So she said, mommy, I thought that cleaning my room was just putting my toys in a box. I said, oh my gosh, I never gave you the definition of done. I'm sorry. So you see, it's provided a common understanding about what to do. This is the DOD. I love it. The sum of all complete product backlog items at the end of the sprint. Each increment must be done based on what? Based on the definition of done. Must be releasable. So if we made the decision to release that increment, this increment needs to work perfectly. No mistakes, no bugs, no problems. So that has to be part of the definition of done. Has been tested, accepted by the customer accepted, and you see the list of definition of done specifications. So the product owner may not release a certain increment. That is optional. This is optional. So when you finish an increment, not necessarily this increment is going to be launched or used immediately. So you can put a couple of increments in a parking lot and just make a decision. Okay, next week, next sprint, we'll be launching this package of features or capabilities. That is totally normal. This is the definition of done. We already explained it. So we are not going to take time to define the definition of done one more time. We did it like 10 times and as part of this class. So it's a shared understanding of what it means, for a piece of work to be done. The definition of done must be agreed upon at the beginning of the project so that future increments will be releasable. We know that. Over time, the team will improve their definition of done to include more information, stringent criteria. Yay, this is an example. The definition of done. Unit test passed, code reviewed, acceptance criteria met, functional test passed, non-functional requirements met. Remember, this is an infrastructure. Yes, Henry, I hear you. This is the infrastructure architecture. Infrastructure and architect and design of the solution, architectural. Non-functional requirements met. Product owner accepts the user story. Oh, here's the definition. Here is a set of expectations. I love that word, expectations. Expectation of a software increment. All right. Might not be possible to use the same definition of done for all teams. That is in huge or complex projects when we have different Scrum teams. Maybe this team is working in this backlog, right? This team is working on this backlog and so on. So maybe they're doing something different. So when you have different teams, maybe you can have different definition of done. Each Scrum team will define its own definition of done and delivers items based on that definition. Yep, we know that. Integration of definition of done should be capable of creating potentially releasable increment. We said that before. User stories, definition of done. Okay, stop here. Check that. Did you pass it? Okay, you move forward. Okay, monitoring the project progress, as I mentioned, we need to understand what is the capacity of the team capacity. To see how many study points they can implement in one sprint. Study points. So the study points is the measurement, the unit of measurement to estimate the size of the user story. So the product owner is responsible to monitor the progress of the project, should be done at least once per sprint review. The product owner determines the amount of remaining work and compares to the remaining work of the previous sprint. So you will see now the burn down chart is coming up. What is the burn down? I'm doing it right now. The burn down chart, these are the sprints. Sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, and sprint 4. So this is the number of study points that we have at the beginning of the project. We have, let's see, 50 points. After one sprint, we did a 5. Now we have only 45 left, the remaining. In this sprint, for example, we did 10. Maybe now we have only 35 to go. And at the end of the sprint 4, maybe we did 10 more, maybe 10 here, until we get 0, and complete all the study points. This is the burn down chart. This one, burn down. Forecast the completion date of the project. All stakeholders should have access to this information. And this is the beautiful burn down chart. You see? Spring 1, Spring 2, Spring 3, Spring 4, Spring 5, Spring 6. This is the effort measured in terms of study points. What do we do? What do we do? What is the use? What is the reason for us to create a breakdown chart? Is to track the work that remains to be done on a project. Measures the team progress in completing the project work. So in other words, we are creating a chart for this, for every single sprint. So this is the sprint, right? So the burn down chart, the burn down chart is going to be representation of this progress of the performance of the sprint. So every day is going to change. This is going to change every day. It's supposed to be updated in the daily Scrum, in the 15-minute meeting. Burn up, I'm not recommending to use that because it's the same information, but now it's how much is not how much it's remaining, but how much has been done. Cumulative. Spring 1, Spring 2, Spring 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the how many study points we have done. Cumulative numbers. Bloop, bloop, bloop. It's the opposite. But never mind. This is not it's not popular like the other one, which is the burn down. So we need to understand the team velocity. What does Alice say? Yay, thank you for asking. The team velocity is the capacity of the team. How many study points we as a team can deliver. So velocity is the measure of team's capacity for work per iteration. It's measured in the same unit that the team estimates the work, which is study points. Study points. So every single user story has to be, we need to estimate the size, but that is not part of this class. This is a Scrum 1. After this Scrum 1, oof, we have like 3 or 4 more programs of Scrum. This is just the foundation. So that is, I'm not including the sizing chapter. It's not part of this class. So after a couple of sprints, you will see that the velocity, it's more accurate, the velocity, and it's stabilized. Plateau is the terminology when they finally, it's stable. It could be different. At the beginning, it's normal that we don't know how many points we are capable to deliver. So after 3 or 4 sprints, this velocity it's supposed to stabilize, like be plateau is the behavior. So it's more accurate, this number. I'm not going to calculate this, but if you have pending 100 study points, and the team capacity is 10 study points per sprint, you can estimate that if you have 100 study points for the total project, you will say that you're going to finish the project in 10 sprints. So that's why I don't want to confuse you with those numbers, because this example is very straightforward. We measure the total study points for the project, right? And we know the capacity, team capacity is this one. So if you know that the team capacity is 10 study points per sprint, you divide 100 divided by 10, it's going to be 10. So how many sprints do you need to finalize the project? 10 sprints. 10 sprints. If the duration of the sprint is 2 weeks, 2 weeks. So now you can say that 10 sprints, 10 multiplied by 2 is 20 weeks. Is that clear? Is that clear? I'm listening, Jessica. I'm listening, Henry. So let me know if you have any question, just write it down and let me know when I see you next week. So Cindy, Kimberly, O'Neill, Jessica, Henry, Joseph, let me know if this is clear. So I don't want you to get confused with a lot of numbers here. Just pay attention to this example. You know how many study points we need to implement. We know the team capacity. Now it's very simple to calculate how many sprints it's going to take the project, and then you can convert this to these sprints in terms of time, which is each sprint is 2 weeks in this case. So you're going to need 20 weeks to execute and to complete the entire project. Yay. Okay, monitoring the progress is the same thing that I was talking about right now. I'm not taking time for that. Utilizing the Springboard for transparency, I said that before. Springboard Dancha, we know that. The Kanban of user stories, we saw that, and the Springboard, that's it. This is the example of one of my friends. I don't want you to like spend time, just read it, just for general information. But this is something that I don't want you to memorize, but I would like you to understand. Just read it. This is an example from my friend David. Understand. If you have any question, let me know. It's something that he did, and they determined the capacity was 5 processes per week. They calculate 20 on a monthly basis, and they determine the capacity. So it's the same that I was mentioning. So the total numbers of processes we deliver was around 200 processes in total. So for the team to complete all processes, they needed to last 10 months. You see, it's another example of a very organized idea here. How to estimate the duration of the project. It's monitoring the sprint progress. All right, what else? Key takeaways. Product backlog. It's a prioritized list of everything to be done. Sprint backlog is a subset of the product backlog. Increment, it's the set of all product backlog items completed so far in the project. It's the incremental value that we are delivering at the end of the sprint. And burn down chart is to track the work that remains to be done on a project. So having said that, the only thing that I miss right now is just I would like to stop sharing and let me share with you guys one of the most beautiful examples that I have in terms of how to apply successfully the Scrum in a Anata. So that is something that I did today as part of the class, and I want to share with you the Anata dashboard. It's coming right now. Let me open it. It's not, I haven't done it yet. Let me just open Anata, which is here. I'm opening the folder, weekly presentations, and Anata. So I'm going to share with you this case study. So how to use Scrum? How did you use Scrum in this beautiful project? Remember that I was part of this exotic, very exotic project. So welcome to Anata Miro board. What is Miro? Miro. It's a free application to create dashboards in Scrum. This thing, Miro boards, www.miro.com, and you can download it for free. Miro board. So what I'm going to share with you was my experience in 2023. I was working as a Scrum Master for this project. My team was sales team here, sales team. So let me just, the Miro board, it's an unlimited space. It's a digital dashboard with no limit in terms of size. So you can just use this like a freely, those portions of the dashboard. So let me show you. I'm going to zoom in. This is my beautiful team. They was in Iceland. And two more in Malaysia. My team Malaysia. Bueno, Malasia in Spanish. So here's the beautiful thing. If I'm doing the zooming, you will see here the sprint goal, the team, all the agenda for the sprint planning, sprint retrospective, daily scrum. So each one of those, this is the schedule for all the meetings with the dates and also the link, Zoom link, Zoom. And this is a sprint planning. This is a team capacity. I love it. This is part of the product backlog here, product backlog. And this is a sprint backlog. This is the velocity, 11 points. We committed 28 points. We had 12 user stories. And we have a couple of potential problems here. So the sprint backlog, yay! This is the Kanban. Hallelujah. Kanban yesterday and today. Those are the actions to be improved. The Kaizen. Remember, Kaizen is a Japanese terminology meaning changing for better. This is the burn down chart here. Burn down chart. See? Bloop, 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 burn down. What is this? This is a sprint review session. We presented these items, and this is the result, 28 points. So everything is here. This is the retrospective information. And this is another platform, more sophisticated, from DevOps Microsoft, which is partner of Anata. So in this case, if you click here, not now, because this is just a picture, this is going to take you to another level of information for executive team. So the Miro, it's for free. Everybody has access. But in this one, it's a more secure data or place, more confidential, I would say. This is the commitments, team agreements, definition of ready, definition of done. And this is empty place that it was very dynamically used, this space here. So let me move forward. This is the Miro dashboard, Anata, which is the specialization of Anata is develop a solution for the car rental industry. Car rental solution. Okay. Okay. This is more zooming into my dashboard. This is the sprint date, April 12 to 25, 2 weeks. This is the sprint goal. This is my team here. It's me, Lisette, Scrum Master Lisette. This is Aether, the product owner. We have Palmer, we have Elsa, we have Barky, and 2 more that's at the beginning of the project. They were not part of the team. After that, the second sprint, we got two additional members. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 2, 6. 6 people plus me, 7. Oh, I love this. You see, product backlog, decomposition, sprint capacity. This is hours, but it's supposed to be measured in points. You see, study points. So just hours. Oh, we need to convert to study points, sprint goal. What else? Oh, here's more zooming. You see the meetings here? April 13, April 12, April daily Scrum every day. And here's the link, Zoom link. And yeah, sprint review, sprint retrospective, and this was a party at the end of the sprint. What else? The same thing, velocity, committed. This is sprint 28 points, user stories 12, Kaizen, which is how to improve. And this is the burn down chart one more time. I'm just providing more like getting closer to the details of this chart. So Anata Miro dashboard, the same thing you see. This is a Kanban board, Kanban. We have here to do, in progress, and done in this column here. That was yesterday, that was today. Remember, we do this every day. That's the beautiful part of Scrum, that we have the daily Scrum to do this. And here's more information. You see, to do, new, active, and closed. It's very straightforward. I love this. One more time, the bird down today. This is the DevOps dashboard. You see, it's more deep. It's more deep, this information. So let me just move forward. Oh, this is the DevOps. This is not Miro. This is not Miro. This is DevOps. It's another place, but it's more formal. It's automatically. The other one's very manual, the Miro. But this one, it's another way to create the dashboards. Eventually, we're going to remove Miro because it's too manually. A lot of work, like a lot of time to update because it's manual. However, this one, it's automatically updated. Those charts are created automatically. Those are performance charts. These are the 3 user stories pending. This is the list of sprint backlog items. This is the product goal. This is the sales environment information, the Kaizen items to improve. Was the buffer was empty buffer. We have a couple of hours just for any risks or unexpected events. And what is this? Current sprint. Oh, initiatives. Those are the high level business. I love that. Business strategies aligned to us. Business strategies. These are the reasons why they are paying and working with us, because they have business strategies to support the business. So this is the reason why we exist. That's why we are here working with you guys, because you have this as part of the what? The business strategies. Very important piece of information in strategic planning. This is part of the vision of the company. All right, let me see what else. One more time, the retrospective, team happiness. Okay, you will have time to see more details. This is sad face, this is a happy face, and this was all. I asked the team to put a post-it, of course, in the digital format in any place based on their feelings. If you are sad, put the post it here. If you're a little bit more happy, you move forward to this side of this chart. So that was before we found this capability in DevOps. So in DevOps, you see, it's more automatic. It's more sophisticated. In this case, it was a click and they were able to answer the questions. How you feel in efficiency? How do you feel we're doing in work-life balance? How do you feel in terms of clarity? How do you feel in terms of confidence? How do you feel in terms of energy? How do you feel in terms of psychological safety? What is this, Lisette? This is a team happiness survey that we do at the end of the sprint. This is part of the retrospective, you see? Part of the retrospective meeting. Love it. So you see here we're bad, in green is favorable, in yellow is neutral, and in red it's unfavorable. I hope I'm pronouncing that word correctly. In Spanish will be desfavorable, favorable, or neutral. But in English will be unfavorable. That's what I think. Neutral, unfavorable. All right, so yeah, this is team assessment. Basic settings. What else? I love that. This stuff is so cool. Here, the last part of this piece of information for this example, it's a working agreement, definition of ready, and definition of done. So the only part that was part of the scope of this class was the definition of done. So we didn't see that as part of the class. Don't worry, this is just an example. The definition of done, acceptance criteria, review, code has been reviewed, committed, deployed to staging, changes, blah, blah, blah. What is this? A list of expectations that we have for every single item to be delivered, for every increment. Okay, I think this is the end of the class. I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you so much for your time. And please go to week number 6 and make sure, guys, you watch this video and then practice, practice, practice. You have 4 practices. Practice exam 06, 07, 08, and the final exam with 40 questions. Any question, just let me know. I'm happy to help, and I'll see you Monday. So what is the Monday? It's 11, March 11. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, collaboration, and participation. Have a good one. Bye.